Well, hello there. Happy Monday.
Hi, happy Monday.
We are joined by a third. I love this. So this is great. Tomas, how are you?
I am doing well now. I'm in LA, so the fires have been pretty crazy all week. And it's not over yet, but I think I'm in the clear as far as evacuation. So I'm doing okay today.
We are keeping our hopes up for you. As you guys can tell, I'm sick again. So when I go on mute, Amber will talk. And go, Amber.
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot. As you guys know, I'm doing my thing. So if I look really weird, it's because I'm sharing to all of our bazillions of groups that we have. So if you're getting our notification, hey everyone,
Welcome.
join us. Welcome. Yes.
Oh my God. I hate being sick, especially when we have a special guest who technically somebody else chased down at the stage door to go get. Tomas, do you want to introduce yourself to our followers so they know
Yeah,
who you
sure.
are?
My name
Yeah.
is Tomas Constanza. I am the co-creator and general partner producer for Drag the Musical, now on off Broadway at New World Stages in New York City.
And also, go ahead and pimp yourself out a little bit more. You can tell them who you are because you've got the most amazing background. I'm so jealous. You're actually a rock star. That's the cool thing.
I used to be. Yeah, I was in a band in the early 2000s called Diffuser. I toured the world. I pretty much I am still, but I was originally a music producer, songwriter, from New York, and I moved out to LA about 17 years ago after I left the band that I was in. And yeah, so I got out, I got out here and I started working on pop music, and I have a recording studio with 3 rooms in it. It's called Killingsworth Recording Company. I have a bunch of people that work for me, songwriters, arrangers, producers, and yeah, I've sold a few records and
Just a few.
as a producer. But yeah, so now I'm pretty much, I guess, more in the musical theater world. But yeah, that's pretty much about it.
Love it. Don't you hate
Well,
talking about yourself?
We're
do.
so happy to have you in the musical theater world.
Oh, a bajillion%. And you're
I love
bringing
it.
such a unique and powerful and important story to the masses. On top of, I think that comes from your musical background of being a professional musician. You're able to translate that to the stage, which is so cool. And we cannot wait to go into all of that right after our Broadway news.
Love
So
it.
you guys know how this works. If you don't know how it works in the Broadway Fan Club podcast, we're going to go over some Broadway news that either I throw at Amber and she reads because I'm dying, or Amber researches, and it's great. And then we'll have a roundtable discussion. Tomas, as always, it's just like hanging out on the couch and talking to your friends. Cursing is allowed, and questions are
Thank
definitely
God.
allowed. And I curse like a sailor. My dad was in the Navy, so I'm allowed to.
Let's do it.
And we have some of our regulars sitting in chats already. So guys, if there's any questions that you have, or anything nice to say, because you don't want to say not nice things, please put that in the comment section. We'll make sure to try to get you guys as soon as possible. But yeah, let's rock with some news and talk some Broadway. And as Tomas posted on social media, we're not going to talk about Wicked, even though it's kind of part of your show of sorts. Through
A part of my show?
Well, part of your crew might have helped a little bit with Wicked.
Okay.
Just, a little bit, but we won't talk about Wicked. We don't have to talk.
I have nothing against it. Just a little oversaturated at the moment. That's
you
all.
think?
It's a little oversaturated.
It's been a little oversaturated for like the last year and a half.
Yeah, it's giving me a cavity, but it's okay. We can talk about it if you like. I'll just keep my mouth shut.
We're not here. We're here to talk about Drag the Musical and Broadway news. All right, Amber, you
Well,
bring in the news.
Speaking of Drag the Musical and some comings and goings, we've had some comings and some goings.
Yeah.
We have had our dear friend and co-creator of the show, Alaska Thunderfuck, played her final performance as Queen Kitty Galloway yesterday. And today, Jimbo joins the musical as the new queen of the cat house. So that's pretty exciting. Jimbo posted a little picture in her story. So I posted a little sneak peek in our group. If anyone's like, ooh, I'm dying to see.
Oh my God. Well, and Jimbo is posting like a couple of clips here and there, and I'm just going, oh, the voice, everything is perfect.
Yeah, I can't wait to see. I'm hoping that we get to go see the show either in a
We're
couple
gonna
of
see it
weeks.
again. We'll see it in like a couple
Well,
weeks.
I'm hoping we're either going to see it in a couple of weeks or in like a couple of weeks because I'm dying to go back.
Yeah. But Tomas, you'll laugh at this. I asked Amber the other night, and for those of you who have not seen the show, it's kind of like Romeo and Juliet of sorts, where you have two houses. But you, Amber, said you're cat house.
I am cat house.
And I'm fish tank. Tomas?
I cannot say. I have to keep my opinion to myself. Yeah,
He's
I am
in
neutral.
his own house. He's in the band pit.
I am. I'm in the garage.
Now, is your hair still neon pink?
No. When it's so funny because my phone. I guess we're live now, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
So, yeah, my phone is blowing up. Everyone's like, "What's up with the beard? You look like a salty dog." So I've never had a beard in my life. And
he's going through a fire.
So I got here, and I'm also in. This is writing phase because I have another show that I'm currently
Nice.
involved in with Spencer Lift called Zodiac, and we are in hardcore writing zone.
Oh.
But yeah, I've never had a beard in my life. So, and when I got into the show, I guess in August, when I got to New York, I was sort of like, I have ash blonde hair. I'm like almost fully white. That's what 5 months of producing an off-Broadway show does to you. So after the show, the day I got home, I shaved my head.
Show everyone at home. Whoa.
I shaved my head.
It is gone, y'all.
Gone. It's gone. So now I'm going to grow it back. And then when it grows back and then we go to the UK, I'm going to have to once again go pink, shave the beard, and be, 35-year-old Tomas.
But from someone with pink hair at 36 years old, I think it's a good look.
For someone who
I love it, but as you know, it's a pain in the ass because you have to.
It is.
With me, I was coloring it every 5 days.
Oh my god!
That's why it looks so saturated. But the reason why it was taking so much is because I'm literally like white now. My hair is white. I aged like a million years in 5 months, so it was easier.
But the best part is it also glowed in the black light in the band pit. So like you just see neon pink.
Yeah, and I'm thinking maybe go blue next time. I could do something. I'm thinking for Zodiac, maybe I'll do something crazy.
Yeah, or you could do like green to black, a little bit Billie Eilish, and
yes. But I feel so liberated. I feel so liberated. I'm letting.
You don't feel naked,
Gandalf. What's up?
You don't feel naked on top of your head.
I do. Yeah. But my goal is, I'm in writing zone, so I just I get into it. I'm letting it grow. I want to be Gandalf, and then I'm going to shave it off when I have to. I love
Gandalf the Grey. Are you going to just straight down to your belly, just like the big long beard?
As far as I can go. I'm loving it.
Or you could always split it and then put it over your head if you just keep it bald.
I could.
Totally do that.
But yeah, no, the pink it gets a little annoying after a while. All my sheets are pink. Everything I have in my house is pink. My sweatshirts are pink. My hats are pink. Everything is pink.
No.
So I was like, I needed to be good. And then my actual head was pink for like a week.
Oh my god.
So, yeah.
I think pink is good, but go with like purple or blue. Like go down the jewels.
I'm purple on this side, so I'm big with the purple also.
Yes.
I love it. But yeah, my phone is blowing. Everyone's like, holy shit, dude, your hair. Well, I have no hair, but my beard.
Yeah, holy shit, your beard. Look at that.
This is like 2 weeks worth of beard. And I feel wonderful.
It's like no shave November, but in January, so it's okay.
Everyone embrace it.
Yeah, embrace it, and then it'll be gone. Don't worry.
It will be. I will look 20 years younger in 3 months when I shave it and color my hair again.
There you go. So you guys have 3 months to give them shit, and then you'll be good.
I love it.
All right, Amber, what's our next topic?
Well, same topic, just different show. We have Maya Rafika, Jordan Fisher, and Philip Boykin all taking their final bow in Hadestown yesterday.
People were losing their minds because Jordan was actually out and doing stage door.
Losing their minds. They will be superseded by Haley Kilgore from Once on This Island, Carlos Valdez, who's known from The Flash, and Tony nominee Tom Hewitt will be rejoining the company as Hades.
Oh, it's so
now.
exciting.
They also just announced that beginning in February, Daniel Breaker and freaking Merle Dandridge will be joining.
Is that like Bob freaking Mackey? But
It's like Bob freaking Mackey.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So that's pretty exciting. So they're having lots of Once on This Island cast joining Hadestown. So that'll be very interesting.
The uproar, and I don't know, Tomas, if you've seen this, but so many people on the cast are hinting at a pro shot.
Of course they are, because why else would they have just assembled all of the OG
in the UK
again?
where it's better to shoot a pro shot? I don't know.
Right.
We shall see.
I don't know, but I'm happy to speculate. Love us some Hadestown, so it's great.
Yeah.
My second favorite musical of all time.
Yeah, what's your first?
It's tough. I would say I mean, can we go old school?
Oh, of course. I'll let you do this. Top 5 musicals or Broadway shows of all time, or off Broadway.
Okay, so I have a question for you. I mean, I know we're doing the news right now, but do musical movies count?
Yeah.
Okay, so because I got
this is how Broadway News on Us works. We just go off topic all the time. This is great.
Okay,
right.
So yeah,
this is our show.
It's your show. Yeah.
8 years old, maybe 6, 7. I don't even know. I watched Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with my mom.
Okay.
And I was like, why is this? I mean, yeah, the story's amazing, right? The book is great. Roald Dahl's great. But I was like, what's up with like the music? Like it just felt really good. And it was interesting because in that same year, I saw Grease for the first time. And I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And then my brother turned me on to Rocky Horror. And I was like, what is so cool about all these 3 things? And then I'll go for a deep cut. And this if you guys know this one, I'd be very impressed. Have you ever seen the movie Bugsy Malone?
Yes.
Remember? Oh my God. You fail. It is the best musical. Well, not really, but it's one of my favorites. Paul Williams wrote the score, but it's a wonderful movie musical. Anyway, so that again, I saw that year and I started to figure out like, wow, musical theater is pretty cool. The music is so melodic. Everything just works great together. So as far as my favorite musical of all time, I would probably say Rocky Horror, but also it is kind of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. But Hadestown is a motherfucker. It's motherfucker.
Fantastic. So. And I still love when we're not going to know spoilers here, but at the very end of the show, and you have the gasps in the crowd. We talked about it last week in the show that somebody was like, oh shit, fuck. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Because they were the only ones that were freaking out about it. But I love that technology, and I love me some Hadestown. I was fortunate enough to see it with the original cast. I know some of the original cast. I know some of the cast now. And it will continue to do so well because it's a great way to educate and entertain, but the music is gorgeous. But also, I think both Amber and I, and Amber, correct me if I'm wrong, definitely Rocky Horror fans, clearly.
Huge Rocky Horror fans.
Huge.
Love that.
I was Magenta in a shadow cast here in Orlando for 6 years. Amber,
wow.
You did some Columbia stuff.
I just dress up as Columbia when I go see it,
which is fantastic. And I love Roald Dahl. I love Charlie and Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka. I love it. I mean, I'm a baby of the 80s and grew up in the 90s, but I was raised right with all of the musicals. And I performed with Sandy and Grease. So you kind of hit all of the tops, which is great.
Love that. Yeah, and it's, I get a lot of shit from people. Just like, dude, you don't love Phantom, or just you don't love Gypsy. And it's just like I'm just not a super big fan of traditional musical theater where it's like a 6-minute song and there's dialogue and they're singing every word. It's just not my thing. I like pop music and I like hooks and I like, I always wondered going to see Phantom. I mean, I love all of it.
I love Phantom,
but I couldn't sing back anything. I couldn't. I couldn't remember anything. It's why I love Six so much. I think it's catchy and it's really.
Who just
modern.
announced they're doing a pro shot today with the original listen cast? Yeah.
Yeah, which is great. But yeah, so I just feel like that's where musical theater is going. is a more universal style appeal musically.
Yeah.
It's almost like jukebox music. Like
Right.
Drag the Musical is, it's pretty much like a jukebox musical because
Oh,
it's
but it's
the
so
way
good.
it's. But that's just how we like it. Alaska, Ashley, and I just like pop songs,
Mhm.
and people singing them when they leave. But
The
with that,
show,
you do have to
yeah.
make the book work harder. So
Oh, of course. Well, and here's the thing too, and like I don't know if you're going to take this as a compliment or not. Sitting in this, first off, I was very fortunate. I got a ticket off of TDF. I was like second row center, like right in front of the runway, looking at the set design. I'm just like, this is gorgeous. And the minute like the band's out and everything's happening, it was very Hedwig and the Angry Inch for me.
great, love that
And and I
musical.
just sat there, like I helped produce a local performance of it. And our mutual friend Ginger Minge was also in a production as Hedwig. Like I loved it, and it was just such a great show. Like one, important message, two, great music, three, memorable music because Amber can't stop singing it.
Well,
It
that's
felt
the
like
key.
a Rocky Horror cult classic to me when I saw
Yeah,
it. Like it felt like one of those like I
like little
want
show.
to like dress up and like how I
Mhm.
love you guys how that you do those theme days because
Yeah,
like I want to dress up and go see this show like with my friends and like yell things back at certain
Yeah,
parts like
well,
no,
and be
that's
allowed
it's.
to appreciate the queens. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I mean, we we always thought of it as an interactive style show because
Yeah,
we were all massive fans of Rocky Horror. So
right,
when we first started writing this, it was just like, well, what's the approach? Like, what's the style? What's the vibe? And everyone was just like, it's got to be Rocky Horror.
hmm,
As far as just like the foundation of what we want, because you kind of need something to keep you on a path, right? So it's
right.
just like, okay,
mhm.
that's where we start, and then it obviously evolved. I mean, we all love uh like the Sex Pistols and even like Meatloaf.
Yeah,
And when we were musically, that's the style I was thinking, was just like, Bat Out of Hell
hmm,
meets, the Sex Pistols, Never Mind the Bollocks. And that's sort of like that's where we should start. And then it could veer off. I mean, there's a lot of chromatics in the
oh
music
sure.
to make it so it's not predictable as major or minor, which I kind of snagged from Rocky Horror, and even more so like old Leonard Skinner and even
Hmm.
old vaudeville. It's just like they lived for
Yeah,
chromatic scales to make it quirky and circusy. So it took 2 years to put that album together because we had a clear idea, but we didn't know how to
right.
get there. But those were the foundations to get us where we're at, and I'm proud of it.
It's a strong foundation. I mean, you've accomplished that. Like everything you're saying, I'm like, nope, yeah, no, that makes sense because you are at that point. The music is catchy, but it's not too much where you're like, oh my god, I don't listen to the song.
Hmm.
Like certain songs that are on the radio right now.
Sure.
But there's so many things that like I want to go back again and again to enjoy this aspect of the show and this aspect of this part of a song. Like there's so many things. Even I mean, I could talk all day about the costuming because my eyes didn't stop looking at it. But
I
Sure.
was
Amber,
I
gonna
mean,
say I need to go back just to see those costumes again alone.
yeah,
yeah, and I mean, once again, when we first started working on it, I mean, there was never even a moment where we thought anyone else but Marco. I mean, we didn't even think about any. It's just
right.
like he's the only one that could really do it, and we were so lucky to get him. We never thought he would do it, but yeah,
It's
he's in a
incredible.
different world. And the wigs too. It's
Oh my god,
it
gorgeous.
all came together.
Hmm.
It's it's such a perfect formula because it's not cookie cutter, but it's developing this like cult like following, at least from what we're seeing not only in our groups, but talking to people at the stage door. When I had the opportunity to do that, and Amber had gone like what 3 weeks before that, and had made
Hmm.
because we have like our Broadway fan club bracelets, and Amber made bracelets for most of the cast that was able to come out, and it's such a different kind of vibe. Like I love stage touring to enjoy the experience of others and listen to the conversations and be able to thank the performers or have great interactions. Like that's how we officially met. Um, but it's so important because it's that sense of community all over again.
Yeah, and that sense of community is sort of what drove me into musical theater. And now that I'm gone, I miss that. I miss the camaraderie, and I miss seeing everyone's faces every day. And I said it when on the last day I was there. I was talking to Nick Adams, and I remember clearly 2 years ago when we were in our first run, we were hanging out together. We were going through everything, and I turned to him and I said, "You know, I think I want to do this for the rest of my life." And he's like, "You got the bug." He's like, "And you'll never be
Right.
able to go back." But mostly, yeah, it's the moving. It's first of all, it's challenging, but I love the moving parts. I mean, it definitely ages you. It's hard, but I just miss seeing everybody every day and sharing those memories, because every day is a different memory. It's just like you don't know what's going to happen, what's going to go wrong, and it's exciting and it's
Absolutely.
fun.
Right.
So I'm feeling like sort of, a little sad right now that I'm not there. I'm just still trying to adjust. I'm glad I'm in Los Angeles, but I do miss it for sure.
Right. Well, you definitely have the bug, and it's not going to be the last time you're going to be doing an incredible show in New York. I'm sure of it. And
Great,
then
I hope
some. You're
so.
just going to take over the world.
That's the idea. I'm working on it. But yeah, I think as far as like my music production career, it's
Right.
just after doing something like this, like Drag the Musical, getting it to New York and building it over the past 8 years,
It's crazy.
it's just hard to go back to what I was doing for 2 decades. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens next. But I think as far as Drag the Musical is concerned, we want to stay in New York right now, and hopefully go to the UK. We're in talks right now,
Awesome.
and movie and TV show and all that, because this is bigger than all of us,
I
and we
agree.
all know it. And we never intended it to be that way. When we sat down, Ashley, Alaska, and I, we were just like, we all were ready for a different challenge in our lives. And
Hmm.
we're like, let's just try to do it. Like, let's see what happens. And that's why it also took us so long, but it evolved, and it is now bigger than all of us. And it's wonderful to see, man.
It's really cool too because, and you can tell that you're humble and you're modest about it because you're like, we worked really hard and like, wow, we got here, but like that's already crazy. But like now we're gonna try to do this. Like you're there, and like when you have that kind of like triad of a crew or a family that you're working with, and then you're putting it out to the world, people see that. Just know that people are seeing that hard work behind it. It's not like you just plucked it out of somewhere in the middle of the air and just threw it on a stage. There's a lot of effort. There's a lot of reasons behind everything. And I think it speaks volumes, whether or not you hear them, but you definitely will see some of them.
Yeah, I mean, and what's interesting is, being in the band, I being in the garage and seeing the
Yeah.
crowd every night. I would just focus on the faces of these people coming to the shows, and it would just fill my heart with so much joy. And if
Yeah.
I was having a shitty day, or if something went wrong, or whatever it may be, just seeing these people genuinely love the show, when they were crying or laughing, it made me feel so great. And I was just like, well, this is why we do it.
Right.
So I'm glad I had that in my life, and that's what I think. Also, what I miss is seeing the audience and chatting with the crowd afterwards
I
at the
don't know.
stage door
Amber
and
and I
stuff.
will just live stream you from the show when we see it in the next couple of weeks. We will. We'll be like,
Right.
here you go. All right, everybody, say hi. We'll just sit in the garage, right, Amber? I mean, I can play the flute and the piano, a little bit of guitar. We can,
It's
maybe I'll
funny.
have a
I'm
voice.
actually
That's fine.
getting live updates from the crew, cast, and the band as we're doing, because it's Jimbo's first night, and
Right.
yeah, this is great. They're. I mean, I always knew that Jimbo would be a great addition, and people are loving it. So I can't wait to see it myself. Don't know when, but hopefully soon.
You'll see it soon, but that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, and it's good that you're getting those updates because that means that things are going good. Because I don't know, I'd be a little scared if I wasn't getting updates when there's a new person in.
Yeah, and I'm a Virgo, so it's just like I am always just like, what the hell's going on? I
Noted.
need to. So yeah, I mean, the whole day today was just getting ready, because Jimbo just flew in from UK DragCon,
DragCon,
and it's
yeah.
just amazing how he's just going right to
Right into it.
the theater and just getting ready, and I love that excitement.
How
And
long was the rehearsal to work him in?
you know what? I don't even know. I think it was maybe like a week and a half.
Wow.
I was gonna say,
Of
I feel
just
like I posted a photo on the plane going into the first rehearsal, and it was about a week ago.
Pretty sure you did.
yes.
Amber
But
goes
yeah,
like deep dive down into stuff, and I'm like, how did you
I
find
love it.
this?
I
It's
love
great.
that.
It's great. Do we have any more Broadway news going on, Amber? Because
We do.
can talk to
Also,
you guys all day.
Emily in the comments is going to see the show on Monday night.
Monday.
We hope you enjoy the show, Emily.
Oh, I love that. So it's next Monday. Yeah, Monday nights are great too because it's Broadway is dark, so we get a lot of interesting people to come on those evenings, and we love it. Mondays were great.
Yeah, that's why we do our podcast on Monday nights, because literally our tagline is when Broadway is dark, we keep the ghost light burning.
Love that.
Because everyone needs Broadway, like at least us. We're like theater 24/7. So sure, why not?
I love that.
Yeah, I love it.
Very cool.
Yeah. So all right, what's next in news, ma'am?
More cast changes. So last week for Jeremy Jordan and Gatsby, he will be playing his final performance on the 19th, and then our good friend Ryan McCartan will be coming in as the new Jay Gatsby.
You said good friend, like we actually know him. It's cute.
His mom is in the group. We're good friends.
Yes. And Jeremy Jordan's grandmother is in
Jeremy Jordan,
and she's sweet.
But
yeah, I love it. We really like, our goal is to just cultivate these communities where people feel comfortable enough to be able to shout from the rooftops about their loved ones being in shows. And we have, have your cast join it. I mean, nobody harasses people. If they do, they're out. They can just plain and simple. But yeah, and you won't be seeing Jeremy Jordan for like maybe a month and a half, 2 months, and then he'll be in Floyd Collins, which will be awesome.
He'll be in Floyd Collins. Yes. Yep.
Wow.
We also have Stereophonic, who played its final show on the 12th. It has a West End production on the sites, with a U.S. tour also scheduled to begin in October.
And they did not do a closing night speech.
They did not do a closing night speech.
There was a lot of drama behind it, so that's why they peacefully left.
Wait, there was drama behind it? How?
Oh, behind Stereophonic?
I went to the first preview, the first night it opened, and I really loved it, but the first act is long.
Oh, 100%. There is speculation of somebody stating that they stole the entire show from them.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, that came out, 2 months ago, Amber?
I believe so.
And then
I heard, wasn't it like a producer, someone that produced Fleetwood Mac or something like that? Is that the guy?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So
that's not good.
No, I mean, but the show, look, they won the Tony. They won multiple Tonys.
Yeah.
But it just kind of plummeted sales. And unfortunately, in this industry, if there's like a rumor that seems to be true, people seem to listen to it. And we do our best to fight them, and stand up for what we know. Everyone's got.
Wait, so hold on. So just the fact that I don't know the guy's name, but he came out and sales are plummeting because he just made the accusation. Oh no, man.
Yep.
Oh geez.
I know they were technically a limited run. They kept extending, but they ended just like they could have extended more if ticket sales were up higher, from what I had read.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's I said this when we first started doing the Broadway Fan Club a little bit under a year ago. I said, when you realize that Broadway is just local theater, just with many more theaters and a lot more divas, like you realize it, because you still have all the drama behind it.
Oh, I can attest to all of it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I don't like about the musical theater world. There are a couple of things, but
this is a safe space. You don't have to watch anything.
For the most part, it's great, but that's something that I just turned me off a little bit in general. But mostly, I love, the musical theater. It has embraced me and Alaska and Ashley, so much, because, in the music world, it takes a while to get into that world. You can't just like jump into a room with real songwriters. Like, you have to work your way up. It takes years.
There's like a hazing period, literally.
Yeah, it takes years to get into the big rooms.
Yeah.
But the difference is, like, with musical theater, if you write a piece, it's going to take 3 to 7 years to get it to off Broadway or anywhere substantial, right? With songs, you could get in a room with a bunch of songwriters. You can literally write, produce, mix, and have a song done in 6 hours. And then it's kind of transactional. It's like, all right, you do this, your song is done, you move on. With musical theater, that commitment has to be there by everyone involved because it takes years. And there's something really cool about that I love. That commitment
It's like
means a lot.
perfecting a recipe, like cultivating that, perfecting the recipe, and then serving that out on stage.
Yeah, and I will admit, I mean, I'm signed to Concord Music Group. They have great theatrical department, great music department, but they never gave me any inkling that they didn't want to help me pursue this dream of mine. It's from the moment I went in there, I was like, I have this idea. They were like, whatever we have to do to make it happen. Victoria Traub, who ran Rodgers and Hammerstein over there for years, is my mentor. And if it weren't for her, I wouldn't be in this position right now.
We have one of those, Larry Lelly. He's our Yoda.
Yeah, and that's awesome. I mean, it's just with open arms. I mean, yeah, along the way, I'm not going to get into it, but we definitely got knocked down by traditionalists, which sucked. We get a few people are like, you'll never get to Broadway and all that shit, and it's just like running through brick walls every day.
Those are the people you invite to come see the show and be like, hey, what were you saying all those years? Yeah.
Nothing more that I want to do than give the middle finger to people that said I could never do it. But it hurts after a while when you're diving through brick walls day after day after day after day, and you're just trying your hardest to get there. But you have to do what you have to do, and you have that dream and you have that focus, and it's worth it.
Yeah. And you almost took the words out of like my brain. And I think Amber and I have talked about this a lot. With the Broadway fan club and like our direction that we're wanting to go, you do have like naysayers, or you have people that are really embracing it because they get it. But it's those people that like talk shit. Then you're like, oh, okay, bye. And then you move on. It's in Orlando, we call it the timeshare salute. It's like next. But when you find your people and when you find your people, I think that's the most important part. And I think we're navigating that, you're our people now. Like we get each other. And it's really important to continue to support that from either going to shows or just being a supportive, like, hey, you're doing awesome. Like, I think that's so key. So thank you for bringing that up because it's true. Because you do have like the haters out there. And then you realize those haters don't know what they're talking about.
And it's all a part of the camaraderie, like the investors, the producers, the cast, the crew, everyone involved, they literally become family. You become close to these people. It's amazing. And that's what I love about it. Everyone has this one belief, this one commitment, and nothing's going to stop us. And if you do feel like, there will be a couple of days you wake up and you're just like, you know what, fuck this. But you have other people that help you through it. And in the team and, family, friends. And it's truly amazing, man. I feel so blessed that we're here right now doing what we love. So many other people to acknowledge along the way. Obviously, I mean, my agent, it's just like everyone is just like, we're going to make this happen. We're not going to let it fail. And it's amazing.
Keep the momentum going. I think it's now how we can get into some more about drag. Like we can always do Broadway news, but we've got you here. So why are we going to, and you know what? I feel like maybe this is a good time to show a video. I have the sizzle reel loaded up. So people that have not seen the show yet or haven't had the opportunity to kind of see the first look, let me go ahead and pull this up and then we can talk some more. You guys all laugh at all of my multiple tabs open. All right. Amber, you can see that, yeah?
I can.
Here we go.
How does it feel to be on the other side of hurt? Your dress is ugly.
So there you are.
Bitch.
Oh, so good. So good.
So good.
just that little sizzle reel just makes me want to like I just want to go back so badly. I just
Yeah,
love it.
we have a very good marketing team. They're called RPM. They put it together. They are insanely great at what they do, and that's another aspect of the team, marketing and press and all. It's just so much that goes into getting a show moving.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
We know it, man. We know it. We've got lots of followers and viewers just in the drag group specifically, and they just love it. And Amber is kind of like the queen of that group because I think in another life, Amber was a drag queen.
What's your drag name? What's your drag name?
Global Warming.
I think we need to find another name for you. We need something fun. So Alaska taught me how to get your drag name.
Oh,
okay.
It is okay. So it's the name of your
the street
first
you grew
pet.
up on. Oh, the first pet, yeah.
First pet, right? And then the street you grew up on, and then the last dessert that you ate.
Oh, that's new. Oh, that's new. Okay, wait. So first pet, street you called. Now I'm gonna do it. So my first pet was Chicklet, the Shih Tzu. The street I grew up on was Pine Ridge, so Chicklet Pine. And then the last dessert I had was New Zealand ice cream. So that doesn't. No, it doesn't. I don't think that works.
I don't like that one. What about you, Amber? What you got?
My first pet was a boy cat named Simba, so I guess I would be Simba.
We already cat house anyway, so that's fine.
What's up?
It fits my house. Louisiana and cinnamon rolls.
You know what? That's a really good one.
Yeah, so I guess that's
Louisiana cinnamon roll is really good.
Louisiana cinnamon roll. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, what's yours?
I love that. Mine is Sharon Needles gave me mine. Tanya Hardon.
Oh, okay, that's a good one.
Also,
otherwise I would have been Biscuit Hickory Donut, and that sucks.
Yeah.
So yours sucks like mine sucks. All right, cool. Yeah.
Drop yours in the comments, people, if you want to let us know your drag names.
Let us know your drag name, and then if you've seen the show, let us know your house too. It's like Harry Potter. It's great. What house are you?
Yeah, right.
I love it.
I'm gonna try to not die over here. Sorry, guys.
So more drag news. I wish it was drag news. just theater news. We had full casting for
theater news,
that was announced. So you can check out the full cast announcement in our group, Boop the Musical group on Fan Group on Facebook. We also had Death Becomes Her canceling a couple of performances within the cast due to illness. It has since come back, but I believe they canceled Wednesday's matinee and Wednesday's evening performance due to illness within the cast.
Oh, cool. So I got what everybody has up in New York, down in Florida. Great.
Yeah, apparently.
And Cheyenne has shared her drag name with us. It's Beats Asia Poinsettia Hershey.
No, I think hers is Asia Poinsettia Hershey.
Or just Asia Hershey. Asia Hershey.
That's actually amazing. Asia Poinsettia. That's amazing. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think that's a great drag name. That's a good one.
Oh my god, that's a really good one.
See, you would think that I would have a good one. I don't. I think one of them, like one of the ways of doing it, I was like Lynn Sherwood because it was like middle name and like the community. And I'm like, oh no, that sounds like a porn name, not a drag name. So
that's
fine.
A little porny.
Yeah, a little
porny. Yeah.
Little porny. But well, Tomas, you've been telling us about going in. Like, what really pushed you guys or you to go, hey, I want to do this. This is what we're going to bring to the stage.
That's an amazing question. Hold on. My phone is. Everyone's making fun of my beard. Oh my god.
Oh, okay. Make fun of his beard in the comments so we can.
You'll never see this. This is going to last till March, and then it's coming off. But I want to be Gandalf. And the show was going great. I'm actually. I don't know if anyone knows yet, but I think I already said it. I'm taking live text messages from the cast, crew, and band. Everything's going great. Okay, so I. I was in a band for a little while. Then I became a producer in like 2003. Mm-hmm. And I was producing a lot of bands on Long Island. And then in 2007, I moved out to LA. And I started working with more in the pop world, like pop artists, rap artists, and so on. And then about 13 years ago, I just didn't like doing it anymore with streaming and so on. It just, I don't know, I almost felt like the songwriting process was like speed dating. It's like I do songwriting sessions with people I don't know. After 4 hours, you jump into another session. It just wasn't fulfilling. So around that time, I started working with my friend Kevin Bard, who was another writer on Sony. And he was like, we should just write songs for licensing, for TVs, ads, commercials, advertising, films, blah, blah, blah. It's called the sync world. So I was like, all right, let's try it. Our manager was like, you guys are crazy. No one's going to care. So for a year, we wrote songs that just entailed that focus. And, we didn't really get anything. Then a year after that, we started to pick up. A year after that, started to pick up. Within 5 years, we became pretty much the biggest duo of writers for that
awesome.
style in the world. We were doing 400 syncs a year. There were a few other people out here doing it in LA, Mozilla and Tim Myers and like all these other people, but it was becoming very lucrative. And around that time, 13 years ago, I also got a phone call from David Charpentier, who at the time was representing, I think, one drag queen, Sharon Needles. And he was like, look, I want to do a record. Your name keeps coming up. I want to do the first like original album by a drag queen. Would you be interested? And I was like, well, I'm literally the straightest guy in the world. I grew up listening to like heavy metal, Nine Inch Nails, Metallica, Slayer, and I know nothing about drag. So I just don't know if I'm your guy. He's like, why don't you at least just call Sharon? So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Sharon. So I call up Sharon. And Sharon literally was like, stop being a pussy and just do my record. I want it to sound like Nine Inch Nails meets Marilyn Manson. I was like, wow, this is going to be interesting. No one knew what we were getting ourselves into. It was a 2-month process at my house. That's where I first met Alaska because they were dating. But like Jane County was at my house. Amanda Lepore came to my house. Like all these like legends.
Yeah.
It was a constant party. It was still till this day. It was the best experience I ever had making a record in my entire life. So anyway, so we did that record, and then the next record we did was Alaska's. Was it Anus, the first record?
Yes,
and
I think so.
Well, Sharon's net record went to number 3 on the Billboard charts. Then we did Alaska's album that went to number 1, and we were like, all right, well, we're on to something. And Ashley was part of that team.
Right.
So we did Alaska's second album, and then we were doing all these drag albums. We were having these number 1 Billboard hits. So that all happened like 13 years ago. So about 8 years ago, I started to see that the sync world and licensing was starting to get diluted because a lot of the writers in Los Angeles, pretty much all over the country, were like, this is a great way to make money, because it still is. But I started to see it was getting diluted. A lot of people were gravitating towards it because, as you can remember, like a decade ago, if Jay-Z or if Prince got an offer to have one of their songs on a coffee commercial, they'd be, or whatever it may be, they'd be like, no way. But now they're all doing it. It's so lucrative, right? Yeah. So I was like, I just feel like I needed something else. So every year at that point, I was going back to New York to visit family. I also had a studio in New York, but I would spend a week just seeing shows. So in March of 2016, I'll never forget the last show I saw was Kinky Boots. I walked out of the theater and I thought to myself, like, I think I can do that. Yeah. It wasn't just the drag aspect. That's what gave me the idea. I was just well, at that point, I mean, it still is massive, but at that point it was gaining so much speed. And I produced all these drag queens. I was, me and David became very close friends. And I was like, on the plane ride home, I was like, there's no one else I thought of other than Alaska and Ashley. It's just like, we've been writing partners for so many years. Obviously, Alaska has such a great background with musical theater. So I came home, I was like, you guys want to write a musical? They were like, yeah. I think we were all sort of looking for a different challenge in our lives, right? But we didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. So we didn't know what we were going to write about. And I don't remember if I said to them, like, let's write a musical about drag, or Alaska was just like, let's write a drag musical. But essentially, it took us 2 months to come up with the idea. And of course, it was Alaska. It was just like, let's keep it simple. It's just like 2 rival drag clubs. It'll be funny. And we were like, you know what? It's simple. It's fun. Let's do it. So we spent, so we didn't know what we were doing. So we're like, let's frame it out with the album first, which you guys have heard. It's the studio album. Let's frame out every song according to the story, and then we can fill in the blanks. Either we'll get someone to write the book, like, who cares?
Right.
So I think it took us like a year and a half to write that part. And then it came time to write the book. And I remember talking to my agent, Susan Weaving, and she was just like, you know what, why don't you guys just do it? And we were like, we're never going to be able to do this. Like, it's just going to be too hard. She's like, just give it a shot. So we wrote the book. And then I'll never forget, I got a phone call from Susan. She was like, look, Tommy Mottola from the Dodgers group wants to see it with Michael David, and they want to do a reading. And we were like, all right, this is fantastic. I mean, they were doing the Temptations at the time, the Tina Turner musical. They had so much going on.
Yeah.
So we flew to New York. At that time, we had Wayne Cilento directing the show of Wicked fame. So
you said no Wicked on the show. We're not mentioning
I
Wicked.
know. I had to come up. So we had no idea what to expect. So essentially, we were like, let's do a shortened version, and we'll play the album as we come across the songs. So we roll into this reading, not knowing that when you have a reading, you have to have like everyone there that's playing a certain character.
Yeah.
It was me, Alaska, Ashley, and Wayne playing like 15 characters. So there were like 15 people in the room, and we're like trying to read this thing while I'm pressing play. The wrong songs are playing.
Oh my God.
And after like 15 minutes, Michael David was like, guys, like, stop. Like, we get it, but this needs a ton of work. We like where it's going, but why don't you just release an album first, like you've been doing with all your other stuff? And Mottola's like, I'll give you 50 grand. Just release 3 songs. Let's see how it goes, and then we could talk. So after the reading, I remember walking outside, and Victoria Traub of Concord Theatrical turned to me and said, that was the absolute worst reading I've ever been to in my life. But look at the bright side. They actually gave you advice, and it's good advice.
Yeah, I mean, you came out of that, like, it's like Shark Tank. You came out of that with money and advice, and you were on your way.
Right. Well, we got out of there, and we turned down the money. We said, you know what? Let's do it ourselves. Let's release an album. We'll get star drag queens. We'll get famous comedians. We had this big idea.
Yeah.
And and then we had to work on the book. And then I guess a few weeks later, COVID hit. So at that point, Alaska couldn't tour, and we all had nothing to do except get into a room and write.
Yeah.
So, with the disaster that COVID was, the silver lining is it gave us a chance to really tweak this book while working on the music. And it took us 2 years to put the music together. It took me a year just to actually produce the actual music, to find the right tones, all that stuff. And then it took another year to record the vocals, put it together, get everyone involved. And in the meantime, we're writing the book. Because, and it was fun. We were getting together 3 times a week. We were getting it together. And in that time, we brought in Spencer Liff because Wayne I don't know if he was working on something else. So it was coming together. So the record came out, and it went to number 3 on the Billboard charts. And then at that point, we were like, okay, we have to do a workshop. And that's when everything really started to work together. And then we did a workshop of 3 days in LA. We had, Monet was a part of it, and Juju and Jan and everybody. And then after that, that's when we met the other 2 producers, Scott and Matt. And that's when we were like, all right, let's do a real run. And that's when it really started to take off.
Right.
I just rambled 8 years of everything we went through, but that's
and we're still hanging on.
I know, I'm fascinated. I'm like, wow.
Well,
good,
a
I'm
lot
glad.
of people don't realize what work goes in, and you don't even know where it's going at that point, because you're like, we're going to do this. We want to do this, but you don't even know if it's going to get to that point, but you're so diligently working on something because that's where your passion is taking you. I think that's so commendable, because look where you are.
Along the way, we had people, obviously, the naysayers, what are you doing? You're never going to get the broad. I can't even tell you how many times I heard it, but it was kind of a lot of it was in the music side of things, actually.
Yeah.
I remember talking to someone from Sony one night at a party and was all excited, we finished this record. And he was like,
right,
dude, you're never going to go to Broadway. What? You just wasted 2 years of your life. Please,
oh my God.
Drag queens on Broadway, it's never going to happen. And I was crushed for an instant, and then I bounced back pretty quick, but I was like, holy shit, because the level of emotions that are involved in this and getting it to work is just insane. But yeah, so that's pretty much how it all started. And then, we did all the sold out runs in LA, and then we were going to go to the UK before New York, but just, it wasn't working, because the UK, I think we're going to do really great. But we were
Of
like,
course.
at this point in 2024, earlier in the year, we did another run. We're like, we got to make a move.
Right.
There's a lot of momentum here. So yeah, we got the offer from Michael Coco and the Schubert Group to go to New World Stages, and we were like, let's just go.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were like, but it's going to cost $5.2 million. So it's like, that's a lot of money. But we just put our heads heads down, and we just raised the money. And it was every day. It was just like, what are we going to do now? And you get so close to like, if we don't get like 40 grand by the end of the day, we're going to shut it down. And it takes a toll on you.
And it's
but
such
it's that
a
belief.
good show. Yeah, you have to have that belief. Exactly. And it takes a very strong individual or group of individuals to be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to keep doing this though. It's a lot of strength that a lot of people don't have. So it's amazing that you guys do, because without that, we wouldn't have the show. We wouldn't have so many people working so hard on something to get this great message out too, which is really important. You know, a lot of people are like in our group, they're like, is it appropriate for children? Yeah, 100% appropriate for children. There are some things that might go over their heads, which is totally fine and planned. And Amber can attest to this. The Brendans are all over our pages. They love our group. Their parents, like their moms, are great.
Yeah,
Amber,
well, because at the end of the day, like what people don't, I mean, I guess they do understand or they don't understand. The story is about self-discovery. It's literally about the journey of self-discovery and acceptance through the art of drag. That's why it's called Drag the Musical. I remember there was a producer that wanted to come on board and be like, you can't call it Drag the Musical. It's like if you have a pop musical and you call it Pop the Musical. It's just like, I guess it makes sense, but it is actually, but it's like K-pop. You know, it was like musicals called K-pop. It's about a style of music, and I guess people were saying that had something to do with their failure, but this was what the show was about. It's about the self-discovery through drag. But the Brendan story was sort of a subplot, and then it just rose to the surface so fast. And I think eventually when we do a movie, the movie's going to be through the eyes of Brendan.
Cool.
Okay.
Because it's beautiful. Everyone sees themselves in Brendan one way or another, and I think we got lucky with that. We didn't intend that to happen. It just happened through writing and the process.
Right.
So I'm glad that it did.
I love it. Now, are any parts of the show taken from personal experiences, or is this like all new material?
Well, I would say definitely. I would say a lot of these characters we do throw ourselves into. I mean, obviously, Alexis Gilmore, Alaska really brought some personal experiences into that. And I mean, I guess Kitty Galloway as well. For me, I brought a lot of my experience into Tom Hutchinson, Ashley with Dixie, and we all sort of played with it. But yeah, I think with Brendan, we both shared our vision of Brendan, because when I was growing up, my brother turned me on to Kiss when I was very young, and I remember playing like Detroit Rock City with like a tennis racket, and Gene Simmons was always wearing these massive boots. So my mother would have boots. I'd put the boots on and I pretend I'm like Gene Simmons or Paul Stanley jumping around. And then as this whole process went on, I started to realize I grew up listening to Kiss and Alice Cooper, Twisted Sister, David Bowie, and the New York Dolls, right? And they all were dressed in drag. And then the 80s comes along and everyone's wearing makeup. I love Rat, Motley Crue, all that stuff. So for me, Brendan's journey is something that I see myself in, because he's fulfilling a fantasy of becoming a rock star, right? So at the end, he comes out and he's the rock star.
Right.
Because I never realized it, but Alaska's just what you bring to the table is you like the gritty side of drag. And I never saw it until 2 months ago when Alaska did an interview and was just like, well, Tomas likes the gritty side, but then I sort of like the glamorous side. And that's where we met in the middle. And it was so brilliant the way that Alaska saw that so clear. And it made me feel so good. I was like, Alaska, thank you. I didn't realize it. But essentially, obviously, Alaska sees Brendan, through the journey of finding out who he is from his perspective. So for me, you could see it however you want. And that's the beauty of this show.
I love it. Now, we are at 9:00, but I don't want to stop talking. Do you have a couple more minutes?
Yeah. This is, I want to make sure, people, get my my ideas and my thoughts on drag the musical, and I want to
We're
share my
literally
experience
hanging
with
on
everyone.
every word. I think Amber and I are both sitting there like this. I'm like, go on,
Right?
keep talking. Yeah. Well, it's
I have
great.
a question.
Oh yeah,
Sure.
go ahead.
Is there anything that's like specifically memorable that like hit the cutting room floor, like a song or like a line or anything?
I mean, I'd say there are a lot of songs that hit the cutting room floor. Like if you listen to the studio album, you'll see one of my favorite songs is the accounting song that was
Mhm,
sang by Max von Essen.
mhm.
It's so brilliant, and it's funny because if you guys seen Death Becomes Her yet,
Yes.
Yes.
you know
We
there's a
actually
song in there that's
saw it
sort
on
of
Halloween
reminiscent.
dressed in ball gowns.
Oh my God. There's a song in there that's reminiscent of the accounting song.
Okay.
That goes into like the plastic surgery and all that,
Okay.
which I thought was very interesting, but it just didn't work live. We couldn't do
Yeah.
it, but it's one of my favorite songs for sure. Out of My League is another one of my favorite songs that Alaska sings. I mean, the last song on the record, Get It On, is so well done. That was sort of like a song where we're just like, "All right, we got to get something for the last song. Like, what are we going to do?" And
Right.
it came together so quick, and we love it so much. But as far as lines, there's so many. And I can't even remember because we've
And
gone through so many different versions of this show.
Versions of the
I'm
show.
sure
Yeah.
there's some improv happening on stage as well, maybe, possibly.
Yeah, I
Everyone.
mean I mean what they do a lot of that, and
Yeah.
I asked Jan about it recently. I was, because there will be some nights where the crowd isn't giving back, and you try to make the best of it because if you don't get that energy back, it's really
Right.
hard to keep it going. When you walk out and people are screaming and they're
Yep.
giving back, like you were saying, Amber, with every word, and it's like a Rocky Horror Picture Show style night.
Right.
When they don't give that back, you need to find something to keep you going. And Jan's just like, we play games and we try to improvise to keep ourselves on our toes. And sometimes that's how the best stuff happens. So yeah, and I think they appreciate that we're letting them improvise every night and milk some jokes, some, not so much, because it keeps them happy and it's more
Right.
fun. So
Just
yeah,
more of their
we try to
personality.
do it as much as possible.
Well, and that's a important lesson for everybody is if you're going to go see the show, which I know you're all going to go do again and again and again, bring that energy because they need it. Like you don't want to just go out there to crickets. You want people to give that feedback because you know what's working and what's not, but bring the energy, hoot and holler. Like this is not I'm not calling out anybody on Reddit or any shows on Reddit that I've been reading about. Some people are livid during Death Becomes Her, Do It for the Gays, that people are hooting and hollering like they're at a drag show. Guys, go see Drag the Musical and go hoot and holler, and nobody's going to give you shit for it.
Yeah, man, believe me, the actors, they love that shit. It gives them energy.
Yeah.
No one wants to play in front of people that are just, I mean, that's these Sunday matinees are sometimes really hard.
Oh, I can
Um,
imagine.
and we try to, like sometimes when there's a spot that they should applause and they don't, Alaska will just do something like, there is an applause here, and then people will go crazy.
Right.
But what I used to do in the garage too, playing in the band, is I used to lead people into clapping or laughing or crying, just
Yeah.
just till it's sort of, people would understand it. And that's why when I left, I felt comfortable that it was already in motion. Whether it's a certain part where we need a little clap, I would do a little clap, or if I had to yell louder so that people would yell louder, it worked.
Right.
Because it's almost like giving people permission to have fun. That's the way. I think Jan actually told me that too. Jan said to me, like, I like the way you're giving people permission. Or was it Nick Adams that said that? And I was doing it more and more. I mean, I would be screaming so loud sometimes, like you could literally hear me, with the people in the audience.
Yeah.
But it worked. And I think right now people are understanding it, and it's automatic at this point.
I love
That's
that.
fantastic.
You need that kind of energy. You're kind of like the tour guide and you're like, no, it's okay. You have permission to be like loud and crazy and have fun. Like not disrespectful, but like,
Right.
Enough to the point where you're enjoying it, like letting people know it's being enjoyed. Is there anything that has happened backstage that's like the thing that you guys all talk about? Like good, funny, any pranks, anything
Well, the
that
thing
like,
is that I'm not backstage, so
yeah.
I'm in the garage.
Oh, yeah.
So
Well, I'm saying pre-show,
us,
post-show, or what you've seen.
well, I would show up 5 minutes before we would
Oh,
play and literally plug in and play, because I was always so busy.
yeah.
Um, so that's something that I think, people in the cast would really understand. But I do know that every night it was something different going on. I can't really recall right now, but I remember like one time we were supposed to go on and Laguna couldn't find her mic,
Oh,
and we literally, it took 20 minutes to find, to get the mic on and all that. But from the band perspective, I do remember a few occasions where like we're all in the box. The drums are electric drums.
yeah.
Everything's in the box, they call it. So there's no acoustic sounds coming out of the garage. So we're
Oh,
able to really adjust the volume without without leakage, which is great. But the problem is that if the drums don't work, you're screwed. And one night we went in and the brain, they call it, that powers the
yeah.
drums, wasn't working. And I mean, we were literally supposed to go on. Luckily we had a backup, but we had to program the backup, and then rehook up. So we went on a half hour late that night, but I was scared. I was like, oh my God, we're going to have to, and it was a Saturday night. But generally, from the band perspective, we're always like we have in-ears and they
Yeah.
go out all the time. So when they go out, all you hear is like the rubber on the drums. It's terrifying. And I'd be on the other side of the
Nightmare.
stage sometimes, and then Andrew would go out, so I wouldn't be able to hear anything. So I'd
Oh
just
my
be
God.
winging it. But we would have fun in there when the garage door would go down. We did have our stash of vodka on the floor that we would do shots from periodically.
I approve that message.
We used to get in trouble for it, but it goes along with the whole vibe of the show. And it's another, I miss the band the most because that was how I connected with everybody.
Yeah.
But yeah, every night it would be something different for sure, whatever it may be. The projectors going down. I remember New York Magazine came one night to review the show, which is a big, big deal. And
Yeah.
our side projectors didn't work. And it was like, we are going to get crucified. And also the main compressor on the sound didn't work. So what a compressor does is it limits all the instruments and all the vocals from going past a certain point.
Sure.
So it basically harnesses everything so that people don't go deaf. And the compressor went down and we didn't know it, and either did the sound engineer.
Oh,
So
no.
everything had this mid-range like frequency burning through everyone's ears, and we couldn't control it. And we're just like, we're going to get crucified. But then they reviewed us with what highbrow and brilliant. And we were like, how did that happen? So
Because you're highbrow and brilliant, clearly.
It's the art
Sometimes
of
things
live theater.
fall, yeah.
One night or a couple of nights, people passed out from the flashing lights, and we had to stop the show.
Oh my God.
Someone went into convulsions one night in the Fabergé seats. So yeah, you get all that stuff. Alaska breaking tables, and It's a Drag and falling over and wigs falling off. Like it's all a part of the charm of the show, and they
I
always
think it
run with
works
it.
though.
It does, and they'll run with it. They'll like make jokes about it throughout the whole show. One time in previews, Alaska slammed the door coming in for a scene, and the siding of the door fell onto the stage, and it was like 9 feet long, and Drunk Jerry had to like carry it backstage. It was super funny, but there are, that's what I miss about the show is every night it's a different memory. And it's really cool.
You'll be back soon enough.
Yeah, I am. I'm not looking to get back there anytime soon right now. I'm just enjoying getting settled in LA, working on my new show, and just spending quality time here and relaxing a little bit.
Well, a little bit, absolutely. Have they ever convinced you to get into drag? It's a personal question I have to ask.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, there's a TV show that's sort of in the works right now for drag, sort of a reality show. And I know one of the skits that they pitched was I would have to take all the drag queens to a hockey game, and we would have to funnel beers at the hockey game. But in return, I would have to go to Times Square dressed in drag playing the guitar.
Oh my God,
Jan
I will be there.
sings.
Amber will be there.
I'll be there. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, they always mess around with me, and it's lovely. Yeah.
Drag queens are like and all three of us have so many friends that are in that industry too, and it's hard. But it's a beautiful thing to see, and then to put yourself out every night on a show is really important too. what is one thing that you want people to take away from the show?
It's very simple. I just want them to be happy. I want them to leave the show happy, and that would be everything for me. Drag the Musical isn't Les Mis. It's a
No.
simple story. It has a simple
Right.
message. I just want people to come and enjoy themselves and leave happy. And
no intermission, which, like, some people get a little bit put off. They're like, what do you mean there's no intermission? I think some shows, and I think especially with Drag the Musical, I think if you stop with an intermission and like you're taking a break, you kind of lose the momentum of a story.
Yeah, and look, we clocked in at 1:47, 1:49 before opening night, and now we're at almost 2 hours because the laughs are so long and there's so many of them. But we have to. I think we're trying to like get the pacing back down again. But I was nervous about it. I was like, oh my god, that's a long time to have a show running is 2 hours straight. But then I realized, someone told me the other day that Les Mis, the first act is 2 hours, and then the second is an hour and a half. So it's like they can do it. They can do it.
Well, and the new trend is like these 90-minute, like almost 2 hour shows. Like you've got 6 that does it. Maybe Happy Ending doesn't have an intermission.
Oh, Mary too.
Oh, Mary as well. Yeah. So you've got like a movie length of a show, but it's a show. And then I love the opportunity that it gives you somebody. I wonder, we got an angry face, and I almost know exactly who that is. He always tries to give us a thumbs up, and he always gives us an angry face. Not intentional. But it's adorable. But it gives you an opportunity to almost try, like, we have some members that do 3 show days. Like when I'm in New York, I do 2 show days, if not 3 show days. And I love that because you guys do offer the opportunity that you can catch multiple shows. I know one of our members had asked earlier if you have any 2 p.m. matinees. I don't think you guys do. You have a Sunday at 3 p.m. What is your actual schedule for the show?
I think Sunday is a 2:30 and a 7, and then Saturday is a 3 p.m. and an 8. Yeah, that's just, I think for this show, that's what we decided on. And, I mean, I give it up to the cast for doing those 2 show days, especially back to back. It's so brutal. I mean, I'm tired, and I'm just playing like bass in the band. I mean, yeah, I'm.
Well, but you don't really get a break though.
Yeah, but for them to get dressed up in makeup and then do the show and to make sure that they're healthy, total new respect for everyone. And I go way back with most of the cast. I mean, years and years and years. But this is just like next level of their commitment. I love all of them, and it's pretty amazing what they could do. And
the fact that, if not all of the cast, but most of the cast is coming out to stage door and so kind with their time, and so kind with their time, but just, you can tell they're exhausted, but they won't ever let you figure that out. Like, just so kind and effervescent. I like that word, effervescent. Yeah, and I think they'll always do it, because I remember I was at a bar recently with Nick Laughlin and I think Jan, and we were just talking about everything, and I think that show was like, it was a rough night for some reason, and I was just like, I don't know how you guys can get through a show when no one's giving anything. It was like a Sunday matinee, and then the Sunday night was just awful, and they were just like, we're so grateful to be here that we just find a way through it. And I was just like, holy shit, what an amazing way to look at it. Because I mean, obviously I'm grateful to be here too, but I never looked at it like, I'm grateful to be here. And it was great to actually have them explain it to me and realize it, because I get so caught up with, I'm doing a million things. Like, producing the show is really hard. I'm a main investor. I play in the band. I'm a co-creator. We got press. We got this. Like, my day starts at 9 in the morning, and sometimes it doesn't end till 1 in the morning. Yeah. And it was really, really hard. It was really, really hard. But it was worth every second of it. Which I love.
Absolutely.
My favorite question to ask people.
I knew it was coming.
What is a question that you've always wanted to be asked, either about yourself or about the show, that no one's ever asked, and what is the answer?
Wait, say that one more time.
What is a question that you have always wanted to be asked, whether about yourself or the show? And then what's the answer to that question?
Did you ever think about quitting? And my response would be never. That's the first thing that pops into my mind.
You've always wanted somebody to ask if you ever thought about quitting.
Yeah, so I could just literally say never.
I love
because
that.
it's like an obvious question that I'm never asked.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's just the first thing that popped into my
No,
mind.
I love it.
I love it because usually everyone's like about my favorite topping of pizza, and I'm like, what? No, I think that speaks volumes. Like you're such a genuine individual, and you really are wearing so many different hats. Um, but your momentum of what you guys are trying to accomplish and what you've already accomplished is just awe-inspiring. So that's
Yeah,
why I was like,
it's
you're going to come on the show. Great, you're going to be on the show. When are you going to be on the show? Because
it,
we are so appreciative of your time.
yeah, but I also want people to understand, you know, what it really takes from my perspective, because
Right,
I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I
right,
mean, my lawyer, agent, Concord, they were like, "Why are you producing this show? Not only as a producer, but you're a general partner. Like that alone is a full-time job." And I was just like, "Ah, that's all
right.
right." It's like I want to keep things rolling. It's okay. And
Yeah,
now, I'm just like, I don't know how I do it. I don't know if I would ever do everything ever. I'd do it all together
right,
ever again, because it destroyed my life as far as just functioning on a
sure.
day-to-day basis. Didn't destroy it as far as like it was awful. It just like
No,
it just sucks the color out of your life because you're doing
right,
so many things. But now that I'm here, I'm starting to realize how lucky I am to be in this predicament and see it and share it with others. And I
right.
say that now. I said it today. I'm like, I'm never producing another show ever again. I said it. I told Ashley yesterday, I don't think I could ever do it again. But then again,
What show
there's
you're
a
producing
fire
next?
inside of me. Yeah, there's a
Right.
fire inside of me that's just
Yeah.
wants to get these shows to stage, because I think I have a lot to say and I want
Right.
to share some of my thoughts with the world. And I don't know, it's cheesy, but it's true.
No, I don't think
No,
it's cheesy. I think it's honest. You're not saying anything just to get a response. You're being honest about it, which I think is so important. And also, like doing so many different things at the same time. Yeah, you might not want to do 8 things at the same time next time, but now, at least the way I would take away from it is you now know what it takes to go into each individual thing so that if you're going to work with somebody, you know that that's what you're looking for is, hey, I would do it this way. I'm going to find somebody that also is going to share that ideology of being able to do something in the right direction.
Right.
But you
And
have a better
you're
appreciation.
right.
yeah,
Because essentially what happened now too is I spent the last 8 years with Alaska and Ashley building an infrastructure on the
Right.
musical theater world with Broadway,
right.
meeting people. So
Yeah.
now moving forward, I don't think it's going to be as hard. And what I just keep telling people, it's like you're running through a brick wall multiple times a day,
Yeah.
and after a while you do get hurt, and it's just like, and it takes a while to jump back. Um, but but yeah, all your listeners, I just want everyone to just hear my side of it, because it really is interesting too how it all works from the inside, and I learned a lot, man.
I mean, you're always welcome to be on the show. Like I think Amber and I have not done this amount of not talking in a while, but it's welcomed because usually we're having to pull information from people and like what else? But you are so passionate and it's really cool. Like I'm so appreciative to like be in your company and Amber, I'm sure I'm speaking on your behalf too, but like we both are such fans of the show. We want to do whatever we can to make sure the show goes on for as long as possible and grows in numbers and grows in strength and goes over to the UK and goes and you have a pro shot. And like there's so many things like please tell us that you'll come on the show again and again, whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
Um,
and I also
open
think it would be really good to get Ashley on the show, because
sure.
she has her views are so different than mine, but
Yeah.
so informative. Um, and I think it's really important to get her take as well. I mean, obviously, it would be great to get Alaska on too, but Alaska is in Australia right now,
Okay.
and Alaska is crazy. But Ashley definitely can add a
We're
lot
all
to
crazy.
your
Yeah.
listeners.
No, I mean we're here for you and we always try to, let our guests know like it might be like our StreamYard studio, but this is your show. We're here for you to make sure that the followers that we have, the people that are new fans of the show because they've seen it or want to see it, that they have a good understanding of what's going on behind the scenes, what it takes to get to that point. Because, and I don't know if you know this, but you're probably inspiring a lot of people, either people who want to be a musician, people who want to be a producer, people who want to bring something off Broadway or on Broadway. Like, you are constantly inspiring people. And it's something like I was told a while ago, and I'm like, that makes no sense. But when you speak your reality and like you're talking about things and you're able to share what you've gone through in a very realistic way, people see that and they gravitate towards that because they want to learn. Like we're as
Right.
human beings, we constantly strive for education and to learn more. So
Well,
I
what I would say is that if I could give any advice to people that are
please,
listening that are writers or whatever they do,
yeah,
and they want to be involved, they're actors, want to be producers, lighting, sound, anything. All I can tell you is surround yourself with people that are hardworking and rational.
yeah,
Like with Alaska and Ashley, we've been working together for 13 years now. We've never had an argument. We disagree, and when you have Alaska in a room, because I always get heated. I'm Italian, and it's just like I'm always like and Alaska
and
is
you're from
just
Long Island,
so
where my whole family is from. I
yes,
understand.
and
Yeah.
Ashley's from Long Island too. But it's just to
Okay.
have the Alaska has this way of diffusing a situation that is I wish I had it. It's just
That's
so
awesome.
cool and collective, and Ashley too. And I think we together we couldn't have done it without each other. We never would have been able to do it with the support of each other, our drive, and especially with the producers, Matt and Scott, and everyone affiliated, like everyone, Concord Theatrical, the cast. You have to surround it. If there's one bad apple, what I have learned, and this is the truth, if there's one bad apple within a cast or within a crew or something, it will spoil everything. So that is tricky to get around. And oh my God,
Oh,
it's so true. I was told, and I was like, no way, but it is
oh,
true.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because as you're saying certain things, and Amber, agree or disagree when I say this, a lot of the things that you're talking about on that side, like, trying to earn a seat at the table or trying to, you're having the negatives, the naysayers, or like hitting the brick wall, but like getting back up, like we go through that too. And
Mm-hmm.
it's every aspect of it. And, we had, and you might find this hard to believe, we had people pretending to be us and calling some of our partners and trying to get us in trouble as ourselves. It was super fun. But oh yeah. That was a fun show to do. When I was like, we are pissed. But it's really like I'm at a loss for words besides the concussion, but you and your honesty is so appreciated in this industry that there's a change. And I think like everybody like in the theater world, especially in New York, everyone's kind of felt like the winds are changing in like the last 2 years or so. Like it's almost like old guard to new guard. And there's a different way of doing things, and there's a newer way or a better way, but people still want, the old way, but there's like a blending of the two. And I think that you guys have kind of found that magic because you're taking, I don't want to say a simple story, but you're taking a story of, finding yourself and like being true to who you are, which I love, with, memorable music and memorable things happening, but you're presenting it in a lighthearted almost way where it's digestible for people, like Avenue Q style. It's digestible. It's a hard hitting but simple message that is important, and you're being able to present that out to everybody, and people can digest it without going, oh man, that was too much. Like it's so enjoyable.
Right.
Yeah, and I also, if any of your listeners or anyone ever wants to ask me a question directly, I'd be more than happy.
Cool.
If they want advice or anything, I'd be more than happy.
So I'll give you guys all of Tomas's phone number. No, I'm just kidding.
I mean, like
No,
if anyone has, like, if someone
yeah.
wrote something, I will read it. I'm all about giving back, because when I was coming up, I never really had someone
Mhm.
like take me under their wing until recently with Victoria Traub and the people at Concord. My whole life, I had to just keep driving and driving, and my ambition got me to this point. But it would have been nice to have someone just to say, okay, well, you're doing that wrong, and so on. So
Yep.
I'm more than willing to help someone get to that level. And I will add another, not a secret, but another big thing that everyone should think about too is just like, besides getting involved with people that can help you get to the next level, like creatively or whatever,
Sure.
like it's important also to have that connection personally too.
Right.
I mean, for me, I mean, I can't even tell you how many times I was ready to just give up, and my wife would be like, you can't.
Right.
And
Right.
that's what kept me going as well. So it's like, when I know that no matter how bad it gets, you have a lifelong partner that will help you through it, it helps a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, Ashley has Grant, and Alaska has, her partner, Matt Herman, who is amazing. And that really helps solidify everything that you're doing. It gives you
Mhm.
a structure that you could lean on without it falling over. That people in faith too, whether it's religion or it's spiritual,
Mhm.
it really, I mean, I don't want to sound cheesy, but it helps,
No.
man. Everyone that we're
Yeah.
affiliated with, they all are like really happy with their lives, and it translates. And it is
Yeah.
without a doubt true. I mean,
Oh,
I will wake up in the morning, literally this morning, 7 o'clock
yeah.
in the morning, I'm getting emails and texts with problems and holy shit, this and that. And,
Mhm.
I have my wife just being like, just, it'll be fine.
It'll
Like,
be okay.
just think about it.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that will really help. And also I wanted to say
Agree.
before I leave,
Yeah.
I
Are
don't
you
know if anyone
leaving
has
us? All
any
right. Bye.
questions. Well, I know
Yeah.
that maybe some of your listeners, I don't know if anyone's listening live, but if
They're
they
all.
have any
Oh,
questions,
we've got lots of people on the live stream viewing. I can actually check our live numbers now.
if someone wants to ask a question, like I usually do Q&As at this
I
point,
love it.
and people might have some interesting questions that I can answer.
And if they don't have it right now or they're too shy to ask in the comments, they are more than welcome to either send them to me directly or Amber directly. Oh, look, you're talking. We have 1,300 viewers right now. So people
Okay.
might just be out there and just hanging on every word like we are.
I hope so. I hope, sometimes I
Oh,
chat a lot,
no,
but I
we love that.
feel there's a lot that I could share to help someone.
You know, this is not the last time you're on our show, right?
I love it. This is fun.
You're stuck with us. But no, and I agree. I actually did, and Amber kind of knows this. I did an experiment like a year and a half, 2 years ago, because I've always been like a theater girl. I did a little bit of theater in high school, but I was a band girl. I played the flute. And I found a lot of my community and like my theater family here in Orlando. I've done the Orlando Fringe for 20 years. And I did an experiment like, well, now almost 2 years ago, but I'm going, I want to do more theater in my life. Theater makes me happy. One of my friends, COVID shut everything down. And I was at Broadway Flea in 2019, the last show I saw before COVID hit. So I saw Hades Town because it had just opened. I saw the second preview of Little Shop, and then boop, COVID. And I was just like at this depression that I didn't know about. And I went to a local theater that my friends own, and they did like what they call musical Mondays. And it was theater back in my life. And my friend Amy was like, I was thinking about it, and like you needed it. It filled that hole in your heart. I will not get emotional. But I said to myself, now going on, I guess it's been 2 years. Look at me crying. This is great. But you surround yourself with people that you want to, be like, or you have to surround yourself in like this good community of people or this good group of people, to kind of change your view and change your perspective of how things are happening. And so I started to really focus on spending time with my theater friends and my theater family and going to see more shows and getting more active in the industry. And here we are.
Right. Same.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a great story.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's what I have found. That's what musical theater is all about. It's different than the music world, and I'm not shitting
yeah,
on like sometimes people are like, "Hey, you're shitting on us," but it's just not the same. It's just different. And also, I've been doing music for 25 years, so it's like this is for me. This is new and exciting. It's almost like someone in the musical theater world who wants to make an album. It's the same thing. They're gonna be like, "Oh my
right.
God, this is the greatest thing." It's just new and exciting. That's all, and that's a good
It's
story, though. I
different.
like that.
Oh yeah, thank you. Well, but it's Amber and I met under the weirdest circumstances, and we came together. We were at opening night party for Water for Elephants,
Mhm.
and we sat there and we're like, we're in this room. Like, how are we in this room? And then we're like, we're in this room, and we've adjusted like our thought process on it, and we're just so honored to be able to have like an incredible community of people, and that's what we strive to create is these communities where people can surround themselves with hey, let's do a meetup. Hey, I'm scared to go by myself, or like, I'm going to be in the city by myself. Does anyone want to go? We want to create these communities where people can surround themselves with people, not necessarily like minded, but supportive. So,
Well, it's wonderful, and I'm more than willing to jump back on again. This is really
Absolutely.
fun.
We're
When I
just
have
gonna
like
steer
some
you down
really
serious,
solid
Tomas.
news.
It's fine. What'd you say? Sorry.
Say like when I have like a really like important piece of news, I'll hit you guys up. I definitely would suggest getting Ashley on because her insight
Absolutely.
is insane.
Anybody you want to have on, we'd love. And then obviously we'll talk after the show when we end the stream.
And if anybody does have any questions or if they want me
Yeah.
to read a script or anything like that, just hook me up. I will help anyone if they need advice on anything. I
That's so
promise
sweet.
you, I will give it a hard listen or I will read something. And the next time I'm on the show, I will be freshly shaven and I will have a new head of hair. I will have my pink hair back with my blue hair.
I went back to my natural color. I've never had fun colors, but I went back towards my natural. I would never shave my head, and I don't think I could pull off pink.
Well, I am getting a message from my wife. She's saying ravioli will be done in 8 minutes. Oh, now it's 5 minutes.
Go get that ravioli.
Guy, and
Mom
Tomas,
made meatballs, and we have ravioli, and I'm glad to be back in LA. But this was great.
Did she make enough for us to have too? Like
I know.
Actually,
whenever you're in LA, I'll make you meatballs.
I made lasagna, so
I
love that.
Behind me.
I love it.
Before you go, give us like an elevator pitch of why people should see Drag the Musical besides how incredible you and the cast and crew are.
I would say go see Drag the Musical because it will be the best night of your life.
Agreed.
You heard it here.
It will be.
You guys go check it out. If you want to go check out Drag the Musical, it's super easy. Go to www.dragthemusical.com. And then when you decide that you want to go join the group, because you should be, go to www.thebroadwayfanclub.com. And seriously, take Tomas up on that offer if you guys have something you want to haven't listened to or read, or just to say like, hey, you're amazing. Please message us. We will get him in touch with you guys. And thank you so much. We cannot wait to have you on the show again. And we look forward to having Ashley on the show too. But
I love it. Thank you guys. Love you guys. I'll see you soon.
All right.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.